This short presentation explains how to write an in-text citation using APA guidelines. Please also look at the APA document, which provides even more information on proper in-text citations. First, there are three ways you can include an author's words or ideas in a paper that you are writing. The first way is summarizing. Summarizing is when you condense an author's main ideas or arguments into just a few sentences. So for example, if you read an article that is 6 pages, you might summarize the findings of the article in 6 sentences. 2, you can paraphrase, which is using your own words to express the ideas of someone else. It means saying something that you read in your own way. Finally, you can quote. Quoting is copying an author's words exactly into your paper and putting quotation marks around it. Summarizing and paraphrasing is using an author's ideas, and you do not use quotation marks. Quoting is using an author's words, and you must use quotation marks. Here is an example of a paragraph that someone wrote. When you summarize, paraphrase, or quote, you must include what's called an in-text citation directly afterwards, and you must do it properly according to APA guidelines. Not doing this means that you have plagiarized. So what is an in-text citation? An in-text citation is a little note that you put inside parentheses that tells your reader who the source is, who said or who thought the information first. So what information do you have to put inside an in-text citation? Well, whenever you summarize, paraphrase, or quote, you must put directly afterwards, in parentheses, the following 3 pieces of information. 1, the author's last name, and only the last name. Do not include the author's first name. 2, the year of publication. When was the document that you are summarizing, paraphrase, or quoting from published? And finally, the page number with a P dot before the number. When using APA, there are 2 ways to properly include an in-text citation. Remember, it is not only necessary to include an in-text citation, but you must also always do it properly. The first way is when you name the author directly in your sentence. If you do this, you must include the year of publication in parentheses immediately after the author's last name, and then you put the page number, again in parentheses, after the quotation. So for example, Kreitzer, which is the author's last name, 2003, noted that despite growing numbers of overweight Americans, many healthcare providers, quote, still remain in ignorance, close quote, page 5. The second way is if you do not use the author's name directly in your sentence. In this case, you would put the 3 pieces of information, the author's last name, the year of publication, and the page number, all in parentheses at the end of the quote. So for example, research shows that despite growing numbers of overweight Americans, many healthcare providers, quote, still remain in ignorance, close quote, Kreitzer, 2003, page 5. Please note that in this case, you put commas between each piece of information. There are some situations you might come across when you are writing when some of the information you need to do your in-text citation is not available. It's important that you know what to do if you are missing a piece of information. If you do not know the author's name, for example, if it's a government or an organization that has published the document, you're going to use the title of the document in the place of the author's name. So for example, people who suffer from arthritis can also suffer from depression. We don't know the author's name, so instead we put the title, Handling Arthritis, in the place of the author's name. If you don't have a date, which can often happen with web documents, don't just leave it out. Put the abbreviation N.D. which stands for no date, instead. So for example, Wallace, which is the author's last name, N.D. suggests that his method of painting imitates organic energy, P.3. Finally, if you do not have a page number, again, often in web documents, You have to find the paragraph that you are quoting from and put the paragraph's number preceded by the abbreviation para, which is short for paragraph, instead. So for example, the cost of treating obesity is exceeded only by treating illnesses from tobacco use. Carmona, 2004, para.5. Please note that if you are summarizing or paraphrasing, you are not obligated to include a page or paragraph number. However, if you are quoting, you are obligated to include the page number or the paragraph number. Let's look at some incorrect in-text citations. Let's say we quoted something from page 8 from an article written by Peter Wheeler in 2014. And we wrote this as the in-text citation. It would be incorrect. We are missing two things. One, we are missing the year, and two, we're missing the P dot before the 8. If we wrote this for the in-text citation, it would be incorrect. The problem here is we put the first name's initial. Only include a last name in your in-text citation. If we wrote this, it would also be incorrect because it is in the wrong order. We always put the author's last name and then the year and then the page number. Finally, this is incorrect because we've used the author's first name. Always use the author's last name. We are also missing the P dot in front of the 8. So the only correct way that we could write our in-text citation would be Wheeler, 2014, P dot 8. If you have any questions about in-text citations, or if you want to make sure that you have cited your sources properly, please mail myself, Kim Muncie. You can also watch the other available videos about avoiding plagiarism, how to quote and how to paraphrase, and how to prepare a references list, all linked off the TAS website.